19 aquatic facilities, 6 golf courses. Is one park system we all should be proud of. And it really, really is growing on an everyday basis. Each year, yes, and does take that. So truly, that does deserve some recognition. Each year, Dallas Parks, they host close to 30 million visitors and bringing around $350 million of economic value. And this number is around 4 years old. So I really don't trust this number. I think our economic value we bring is close to $1 billion because a lot has happened since this study was conducted. And for those reasons and many more reasons, Mayor Johnson, he has always made park a priority along with this council, and he has been a champion at City Hall. We at the Parks and Recreation and the city can't be more proud of a leader we have in Mayor Johnson. Key words he kind of laid to me as a president of Parks and Board was quality of life, inclusivity, Southern Dallas, and economic development. And truly, Parks achieves all that. So I'm honored to be part of it and hosting you at one of our facilities today and hosting Mayor for his State of the City. It's been an honor to work with him. Just to define his style in one way, when you talk to Mayor Johnson, he wants something to get done. When you say yes, he hears yes. When you say no, he hears maybe. True. This is how he operates. And then he gets it done. Your no becomes yes very soon. So it's been privilege to work with him. And it says it takes a village. I know so many people in this room and so thankful for their support and for being here. And without taking much time, I think, thanks for making Dallas a better place. And with that, I will introduce Rabbi Andrew Mark Paley to come and do the invocation. Welcome.
Good morning, dear friends. Let's pray. Holy One of blessing, Spirit of the universe, God of many names, we gather here this day in gratitude for the chance to be with your children, brothers and sisters created in your image, working so hard to bring a measure of peace, of wholeness and holiness to this great city. Holy One, today we hear your call as loudly as our ancestors did in the time of the prophet Jeremiah, who said, "Seek the welfare of your city." God, we pray that you would help us to seek the welfare of the places where you have put us, to do good in our city, to do good in our neighborhoods where you have sent us, where you have indeed placed us, and to pray on behalf of our great city where we find ourselves right now. Oh God, we seek the welfare of and are praying so hard for those who are hurting right now, the families and loved ones of those killed in that terrible plane crash just a few short days ago, those who are hungry, those who are scared and lonely, those who are weighed down with worry, and those who are searching for the light, that they may find a measure of your love and a measure of your comfort. In this moment, do we join our hearts and prayers together to intercede for our beloved Dallas. Oh God, we pray for good and just leaders. May Mayor Johnson and his staff, our city council and their staffs, and all those who have been elected to high office exercise their responsibilities with wisdom and fairness and justice for all. Fill them with love and kindness and bless them that they may walk with integrity on the paths of peace and righteousness. Creator and protector of all, watch over our police and firefighters, our doctors and nurses, and all those entrusted with our safety as they daily put their lives at risk to protect us and our freedoms. Be with them in times of danger. Give them courage to act with honor and dignity. as well as insight to do what is right and good in your eyes. Help us to become more aware that prayers are not enough to bring about the vision of holiness and wholeness our city demands. Help us, O God, to act with conviction and passion each day to fulfill our responsibilities of citizenship with care, with generosity, with gratitude, ever conscious of the extraordinary blessing of freedom, ever mindful of our duties to care for one another as we seek the welfare of our city. And more than anything else, fill us all with the gifts of love and courage, that we may create a city that reflects your glory. May we respond to the charge of your prophet Micah, who said, "What does God demand of you? But to act justly, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God."
Ms. Jordan. She has known Mayor since he was 11-year-old, and she told me, I knew at that time that he will be excelling in life. So really it's great to have you here, Ms. Jordan, and look forward to your introduction to Mayor. Welcome.
Wow, I can't see anyone. Good morning, everyone. It is an honor for me to be here this morning to speak to you all and to get to introduce our mayor. Let me start by telling you something. I love this great city of Dallas. I was raised here, I was born here in the city, and I love Dallas. For the past 40 years, I've been proud to support this city's communities through my involvement with the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Dallas, a nonprofit committed to enabling all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring members of society. As part of the organization, I became the director of the West Dallas Boys and Girls Club in 1989. It was located in the same community that my older sister was slain to gun violence at age 18. And I thought a lot about her when I worked in that community. And even though it was very difficult, I truly believe that all children can be great, no matter where they live, no matter what family they come from, or how much money their parents have. It was during those early days in West Dallas when I met a 12-year-old from the neighborhood who helped solidify that belief, and his name was Eric Johnson. Kind of kid who always did his homework in the library first before he went to the play. The other kids in the club looked up to him. He was always leading and setting the tone for others, especially in education. It was easy to see that he could and would be great someday. I knew it at an early age. Even though I didn't know exactly what he would be doing, I knew that he would be doing something where he would be a leader. That is why today I am proud, but I'm not surprised, to introduce to you the 60th mayor of the city of Dallas, the son of West Dallas, and a true leader, our mayor, Eric Johnson.
City Manager Broadnax, City Attorney Queso, City Auditor Swan, Judge Rob, Council, esteemed elected officials, board and commission members, city staff, fellow residents of the great city of Dallas, thank you for joining me this morning. My duty here under the Dallas City Charter is to once again report to you on the state of our city, its financial condition, and our plans for its future. And today, I can proudly say that the state of our city is stronger than ever, and that Dallas is back. We're back because we continue to focus on our future while building on our past and addressing our challenges. And that's why I chose again to deliver this address at Fair Park, a uniquely Dallas venue that represents both our city's past and its future. Fair Park both serves our residents and puts Dallas on the world stage. Every year, Fair Park hosts special events, concerts, musicals, and festivals. Every summer, more than 10,000 Dallas residents come here to pick up school supplies during the mayor's back-to-school fair. And every fall, the great State Fair of Texas, which set a new attendance record this year, draws millions of people to Fair Park from all over our city, from across this region, and from around the world. Fair Park has also been an invaluable asset for us during difficult times. Remember, it was just a year and a half ago that this park was a vaccination site for hundreds of thousands of people. That collaborative effort helped bring an end to those dark and desperate days when COVID-19 kept us apart, forced us into virtual meeting marathons, and took our children out of their classrooms. Fair Park, in other words, is a place of hope. It's a place of community. It's a place for fun, and it's a place that serves our families. However, it is abundantly clear communities in our city, Fair Park and its surrounding neighborhoods have largely been underserved and overlooked, and for far too long. Today, I'm here to tell you, no more. Not here, not anywhere in our city. We're committed to building a Dallas where no community will be underserved or overlooked. We're working to bring an end to the era of inequities. And we're beginning a new era of opportunity for all of our residents. A week ago, Dallas voters took advantage of an historic opportunity. Through their overwhelming approval of Proposition A, we're now primed to make the single largest investment in Fair Park's 136-year history. And we're going to be able to revitalize Fair Park and make it, for the first time, a genuine asset to its surrounding community and to those incredible people who live near this park. That's not all. That's not all. Our voters also supported funding that will help us expand and modernize the Kay Bailey Hutchison Convention Center. That means we can bring new development and new life to downtown Dallas. It means creating new places that can be enjoyed by both Dallas residents and visitors alike. Very importantly, it also means we can do all of this for our city without raising taxes on our residents. In fact, we're making these significant investments as we work to reduce our residents' property tax burden. And I'm proud to say that just 2 months ago, this City Council voted for our largest tax rate cut in the last 4 decades. And we did that while still increasing our commitment to our city's top priorities. We're boosting spending to grow our police department to fight violent crime, to support our firefighters and our paramedics. We're investing in new strategies to reduce the scourge of homelessness. We're fully funding the Office of Inspector General to end corruption at City Hall. We're demanding a more accountable and a more responsive city government for our residents. We're adding new parks and trails and new green spaces at an unprecedented pace in this city. Our efforts are paying off. In the last 4 years, Dallas has welcomed $14 billion in new development, and we have billions more in the pipeline. There's more to come. My friends, we have come a long way from the distressing days of lockdowns, civil unrest, natural disasters, and all sorts of calamities. Even in the face of today's national and even international challenges, the city of Dallas has been undeterred. We've stayed focused, we've solved problems, we've kept promises, and we've empowered our people. As a result, Dallas emerged from the pandemic as a national leader, as what some have called America's comeback city. And we have an undeniable and irrepressible spirit, or as some call it, Big Dallas energy. Now, don't get me wrong. We understand that there's still plenty of work to do. We're not doing any touchdown dances, as my police chief loves to say. And we know that as we stand tall right now, the pendulum will try to swing back and knock us on our heels. But this is a city that embraces challenges, and we thrive because of them. This great unfinished metropolis continues to brim with potential because we acknowledge our imperfections and we actively work to correct them. We're ignoring the doubting Thomases, and we're putting our faith in each other. Our hearts are full, our dreams are big, and this decade is ours for the taking. I'm telling you, it's very difficult for me not to be romantic about the possibilities of our city. Because as many of you know, I'm one of the very few mayors in our city's history who was actually born and raised in Dallas. I now stand before you as the mayor of the 9th largest city in America after spending a childhood cramped in a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 siblings and 2 parents in West Dallas and Oak Cliff. And it would be easy to tell you that I came from nothing and that I had nothing back then. But that wouldn't be true. Because for everything that I lacked and that I did without as a kid, I had my family. I had a community that cared about me, and I had access to a quality education. Not everyone I grew up with could say they had all those things. As we continue to build on our city's momentum, that, my friends, is where our focus must be. We have to focus on making life better for all of our families, on strengthening our neighborhoods, and on providing greater opportunities for our residents to achieve their goals and their aspirations. That means we must never forget that the foundation of everything we do as a city is public safety. Since I became mayor, city leaders have committed, thankfully, to my goal of making Dallas the, not one of the, but the safest major city in the United States of America. No matter which way the political winds blew, I always put public safety first. I fought back against the defund the police movement. I fought for the equipment, the compensation, and the community support that our police department needed to reduce violent crime. My views on public safety have been shaped, no doubt, by evidence and by data, but they're also firmly rooted in my upbringing in West Dallas and Oak Cliff. When I was in high school, back in the early 1990s, from 1990 to 1994, our nation and our city experienced the 4 most violent years, not of that decade, but in our history. In 1991, when I was a sophomore in high school, Dallas hit a record high of 500 murders in that one year. And the victims were predominantly young men who looked like me and were from neighborhoods just like mine. The fact is, though, these were and still are strong neighborhoods. They weren't the Wild West. Our neighbors were overwhelmingly law-abiding people who looked out for each other and who worked hard to put food on the table. But life for all of those folks, all of those law-abiding folks like my family, was made all the more difficult because of a small group of people who preyed on the rest of us. They're what you might hear referred to as the criminal element. They're not the victims of a flawed system. They're one of the system's biggest flaws. They took people's hindrance to the rest of us who wanted to reach their full potential. That's the world I grew up in. A world where trouble was all around you, and where safety, the most basic of needs, was simply no guarantee at all. It was, sadly, a world where our dreams were all too frequently interrupted, both literally and figuratively, by the sound of gunfire, nightly. When it comes to public safety, we must be guided by the core belief that every single one of our communities in Dallas deserves to be safe, and that they all want to be safe. That they want the criminal element weeded out of their communities, and that they want to be treated fairly and to get the same level of service as folks who live in other parts of town. That, my friends, is why we have to have well-trained police officers. That's why we have to have community policing, accountable policing, data-driven policing. And all of those things start at the top with strong leadership. When our city went looking for a new police chief back in late 2020, I knew that we weren't going to find one person who had all of the answers to our public safety problems. But I knew we needed someone who would relentlessly seek all of those answers to our public safety problems, and who would even have the humility to team up with experts like criminologists to implement the very best violent crime reduction strategies available in this world. That's why I am so grateful that we found the best police chief in the United States of America, my partner in reducing violent crime in this city, Eddie Garcia. Behind Chief Garcia's proactive leadership, the literal, daily heroism of the men and women of the Dallas Police Department, and our community-based violent crime reduction programs, I am proud to say that once again, Dallas is bucking national trends when it comes to violent crime. As violent crime in other cities has continued to go up, in Dallas, violent crime is still going down. Our violent crime plan has yielded a 12% reduction in all the places throughout our city where it's been implemented. And I'm proud to report that Dallas is much safer today than it was 2 years ago. And we're positioned to make it even safer in the years ahead. Not every city can say that. They wish they could, but they can't. And we should be very proud of what we've accomplished as a city. But the chief knows, as I mentioned before, just like I do, that we do not get to celebrate as long as there are still families in Dallas whose lives are being forever changed by violence. That's why this year, the Dallas City Council agreed to fund the hiring of another 250 police officers in the year ahead, and to pay them fairly. Additional officers are what it's going to take for us to continue implementing the violent crime reduction plan where it's most needed in our city. Our commitment to public safety is also why we created the Mayor's Summer of Safety campaign, which helped us keep our kids safe while they were out of school in the summer, by guiding them and their parents and guardians to our city's vast array of free and low-cost programs and activities. And I'm proud to say that it actually contributed to something that never happens in large cities in America, and that is our violent crime actually went down this summer. It's why we're improving lighting in high crime areas. It's why we're partnering with the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission to hold bars and nightclubs accountable for keeping their patrons safe. And it's why we're using violence interruption strategies to deter criminal behavior. This is what I like to call the kitchen sink approach to fighting violent crime, because that's what it takes. It takes everyone working together relentlessly and strategically toward the same goal. I'm here to tell you the stakes are high. Out there in Dallas right now are kids just like me, kids like the ones that I grew up with. And they deserve to grow up in a safe community and to dream big dreams. Those dreams can become reality if we continue to enhance the efforts we've already made to build for our city's future. As I mentioned before, we went to our voters with big ideas for Fair Park and the Convention Center. But now, the real work begins. We shouldn't act as if Dallas voters just handed us a blank check, Arun. We must ensure that these transformational projects of generational consequence are completed in a responsible and in an accountable way. And we must ensure that our residents, not just visitors to this city, but our residents benefit from anything we do. That's the approach that we need to take to every issue at City Hall as we rectify what are admittedly mistakes of the past and address problems created by long-gone generations through neglect, indifference, and sometimes just plain wrong-headed ideas. We have to be thoughtful. We must be accountable. And we must be, as I've said many times, relentless. In the year ahead, it is imperative that we use this perspective to help us build on our work in 10 major policy areas. First, yes, it is true. We cut our tax rate to the lowest level since 2007 and increased our homestead exemption for seniors and for our disabled residents. That is true, and that is significant progress. But now, we need to reduce that rate even further to help our residents and our businesses in this city to thrive. Second, we created an economic development corporation to make us more competitive regionally, nationally, and internationally. Now, Chairman Atkins, we must see to it that we use every tool available to get our fair share of corporate relocations in this fast-growing region. Third, we've invested in restoration projects and major new developments that will bring jobs, entertainment, and new life to our city. This includes the Longhorn Ballroom, the new Goldman Sachs offices, University Hills, and the East Quarter in downtown. Now, we need to adopt new economic incentive policies that will help us further capitalize on these deals. Fourth, we've created a master development plan for Hensley Field. Now, Chairman Thomas and Chairwoman Blackman, we need to work with our federal partners to ensure that the environmental remediation can begin so that work can start as soon as possible. Fifth, we've fully funded our Office of Inspector General to eliminate corruption at City Hall. But now, Chairwoman Mendelson, we have to develop and pass even more reforms that can clarify and simplify our rules to truly build a culture in Dallas of ethics and compliance. Sixth, We've made workforce development a top priority for the first time in our city government's history. Through the new Workforce Dallas initiative led by my workforce development czar, Lynn McBee, and through the Mayor's Franchise Initiative led by my Impact Ambassador, Carlos White, we must take this opportunity to build a robust business ecosystem that can make a real difference for the working families in our city. Seventh, we've begun to see our city government getting back to basics. Our city managers made some important progress through a 100-day plan meant to deal with the most persistent operational issues at City Hall. But now, Mr. City Manager, we need you to take our city government to the next level by ensuring that the services that we offer, such as those in our city's permitting office, are first class and are customer centric. And I know that our city council is prepared to give you whatever tools you need to make that happen. We need urgency in this area, and we need results. Eighth, we've created major strategic plans on the environment, on housing, even on sidewalks. Now, we must continue with their implementation. And we must work to ensure that all of these plans that we've created aren't just filed away and collecting dust. Ninth, we created the International District in North Dallas, and now soon we're going to be opening foreign trade offices that are going to transform that area into a gateway to the world and are going to cement our place on the international stage. And finally, we've made great strides in our response to homelessness. But like almost every major city in this nation, the ranks of our homeless population have grown in recent years. And while this is a major public health issue, and Dallas County is our contracted public health authority, the city of Dallas has nonetheless been the most proactive governmental entity dealing directly with this issue in our entire region. We're clearing and cleaning encampments, and I'm talking about hundreds of them. We've partnered with numerous nonprofits and service providers to get people the help and the housing that they need. We're buying up old hotels for supportive housing. And we've even provided inclement weather shelters so that we can keep vulnerable people safe when our weather becomes extreme. Our regional real-time rapid rehousing initiative has taken nearly 1,300 people off of our streets in the last year alone. And through a new master leasing program, which we funded through a budget amendment that I authored this year, we can actually expedite that effort. But we know that addressing homelessness is going to be one of our toughest challenges in the years ahead. People who are experiencing chronic homelessness, sidewalks and our underpasses that are becoming filled with tents, sleeping bags, and even waste. Dallas is a city of love and a city of empathy, but we're also a city that cares about health and safety and that respects all of our residents who simply want to be able to walk to work or into one of our public libraries without being accosted or without fear. That's why in the weeks ahead, I'm going to name a task force of stakeholders and experts to help us develop recommendations for better coordinating our homelessness response. Their North Star is going to be simple, and it's this: we need solutions. But this is not a City of Dallas problem alone to solve. The City of Dallas has very generously extended a helping hand to people in need for years. But that has also meant that we've sometimes been left holding the bag for our entire region. We're going to be looking to our county governments to play a bigger role in this. We're going to be looking to regional entities to take up this issue. We're going to be efforts to do so now. And we're going to ask our state and federal partners to help us care for our most vulnerable people. If we're going to move the needle on homelessness, it's time to employ the same all-in, kitchen sink approach that we've used successfully to improve public safety and economic development in our city. These are the immediate steps that we need to take this year. But we also need to look further ahead toward the city that we want to be 10 years from now. Next year, we're going to get serious about what we want to see in a $1 billion 2024 bond package. And as we shape that proposal for our voters to consider, I'm going to be pushing our city leaders to focus primarily on the 3 Ps: public safety, potholes, and parks. With the first P, public safety, our needs are pretty obvious. This year, I proposed a budget amendment to provide $1.75 million worth of immediate repairs at our fire stations. And that, Chief Ardis, was just a start. Our actual needs at our existing fire stations are about 10 times that much. And we'll also need to devote millions more to replace aging fire stations. These fire stations are homes away from home for our first responders. And between their life-saving fire and ambulance runs, they deserve to go back to places that are clean, safe, and comfortable. It's also time for us to get moving on a new police academy in partnership with the University of North Texas at Dallas. I'm going to be very real with you. Our current police academy is not worthy of the men and women of the Dallas Police Department. A cut-rate approach to police training is not what you want in the 21st century. We must begin to create a place of learning and wellness that helps us produce the most well-trained and well-qualified police officers in the United States of America. Now, as it comes to potholes, our residents deserve better streets and sidewalks, plain and simple. In 2017, another commitment to resurfacing our roads, making them friendlier to pedestrians, and readying them for the demands of the future. We should also look to provide funding that can help us deck over a below-grade Interstate 345 and reconnect Deep Ellum to downtown. If we don't find a way to take full advantage of the 17 acres of land that will be freed up by a rebuilt highway there, we will have missed an historic opportunity for our city center. Finally, the third P, parks, are near and dear to my heart. I believe that parks, trails, playgrounds, and recreation centers are critical infrastructure in a modern city. And they're also personal to me. When I was growing up in Dallas, families like mine depended on our city parks. We didn't have backyards or swimming pools or private gym memberships or country club memberships. So I learned how to swim at Kidd Springs. I spent countless days with my friends at Keys Park. And I made some of my fondest childhood memories right here at Fair Park during the State Fair. I think we'll all remember that during the pandemic's darkest days, many of our families, my family included, relied on our parks and trails more than ever. They gave us a chance to be around other people, to get some fresh air, to stretch our legs, and just to relax. Dallas clearly loves its parks, and we've become a national model, actually, for excellence in developing innovative green spaces in recent years. Other cities are actually now copying Clyde Warren Park, which celebrated its 10th anniversary just this year with a new expansion and the amazing new Nancy Best fountain. And if you haven't seen it, you really ought to check it out. And our very own Deck Park Encore, Southern Gateway Park, is coming together very nicely and now has a fully poured concrete foundation. It really is an incredible story of Dallas's ingenuity. If you look all across our city, we've taken illegal dumping grounds, we've taken ugly concrete surface parking lots, and we have literally transformed them into beautiful public spaces. In fact, in partnership with Parks for Downtown Dallas, we've added 23 new acres of downtown parks in less than 2 decades. The latest being Carpenter Park. And Harwood Park is going to soon complete a multi-year effort that's transformed our city center from a central business district only, which is what it was when I was growing up, to an actual vibrant urban neighborhood. In addition, Encore recently donated 110 acres of land that's going to become Parkdale Lake Park. And that's created a once-in-a-generation opportunity that I want to see come to life as soon as humanly possible. Parkdale Lake Park is also going to help us complete the Loop Trail that is now underway and is going to connect and add 50 miles of trails in our city. This circuit trail, as it's currently planned, doesn't extend to Oak Cliff. But I have a promise that I want to make you right now. We are not going to leave that part of our city where I grew up behind. We're not going to do it. We have to find a way to fully fund the first phase of the 5 Mile Creek Greenbelt and bring this long overdue infrastructure into Oak Cliff. So, Mr. City Manager, we have to figure out how to do that. It's going to improve the quality of life, the health, and the mobility of the residents there, and I am confident that working together, we can and we will. But there's much, much more to be done. We're going to continue to think big about parks and trails, but it's also time for us to think bigger about thinking small. One of my first acts as mayor was to recommit Dallas to the Trust for Public Land's 10-minute walk campaign. Some of you know what that is. That's a campaign that says that no family in a city should be more than a short walk from a park or a trail. And we've made progress on that goal. But today, it is still the case that more than a quarter of the people who live in Dallas still cannot walk to a park or trail within 10 minutes of their home. In a growing city like ours, green space is at a premium. And that's why, in the weeks ahead, I'm going to be requesting a complete inventory of all unused, underused, or vacant city-owned land from our city manager. And if there isn't a feasible development plan for any piece of city-owned property, we should responsibly and strategically develop it into a park or some other type of green space or affordable housing. When it comes to parks, we've benefited from some amazing partnerships, and we're working on plans to expand those very partnerships. But we cannot sit idly by as a city and just hope that our partners will always step up and do all the heavy lifting. We must be proactive as a city, and we must be bold. We're dreamers in Dallas, not speculators. And we must also be a city of doers and not perpetual planners. That's the attitude that has helped the people of Dallas pour the concrete and erect the buildings that have added $14 billion in new development to our city over the last 4 years. That's the attitude that has helped propel Dallas to become the engine of the 4th largest and fastest growing metro area in the United States. And mark my words, that's the same attitude that will help make all of Dallas, including where we are right now at Fair Park, greener and greater in the years ahead. I want to close today by speaking directly to my colleagues on the Dallas City Council and to all of our city staff who's in attendance here today. If you could, please, if you're a member of the Dallas City Council or you work for our great city, please stand and be recognized. I want to say to all of you, thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your commitment to the people of this city. I know for a fact that all of you have given up a lot of your time that you could have spent with your own families to help the families of this city. And for that, I want you to know that I'm grateful. I also want to say that I know that things haven't always been easy. Without question, we've endured some bad breaks in the last year and a half in this city. Our residents have faced hardships and have fallen on hard times. We've seen bad things happen to good people. We've lost some heroes and some everyday folks who make this city work and who meant the world to their loved ones. I also know some of us have had our differences from time to time. But when you look beyond the minutia, beyond the inevitable day-to-day disputes, it's clear that we have come a long way as a city and as a city council in the time that we've had together. At the city council's inauguration 18 months ago, we talked about how after everything that we've been through as a city, that we're standing together at the dawn of a new Dallas. In the days since then, we've advanced real solutions. We've made some extraordinary deals. We've forged the kinds of compromise that disproved the cynics who snicker and who sneer at our city's ambition. And in doing so, we've made it plain that the politics of pessimism have no place here, and that it is never a good bet to bet against Dallas. Our people's strength, resiliency, and generosity continue to this day to inspire me. And I've been amazed by what we've accomplished and motivated by what I know we are going to do for all of our families in this city in the years ahead. That's because we've shown that this city and its people don't stay down. We've picked each other up every time, and we've moved forward every time. We've had our mettle tested in every way imaginable, and in some ways unimaginable. And we have demonstrated our resolve. Today, a new Dallas has indeed dawned. And as a city, we're reaching new heights together for all of our communities. I'm here to tell you that the rumors are true. Dallas is back. Dallas is strong, and the future belongs to all of us. Now it's time to get back to work. So thank you so very much for being here. May God bless you, and may God bless the great city of Dallas, Texas. Thank you very much.